Every week, we're working hard to give you the latest weather updates, stories from around campus and the Pittsburgh area. RMU Live, Mondays at 3, bringing you the latest news.
Good afternoon and welcome to RMU Live. Today is Monday, February 13th. I'm Ethan Morrison.
And I'm Nathan Breisinger. Here's what's happening now.
The U.S. military shot down another unidentified object Sunday at President Joe Biden's order.
According to the Pentagon, the craft was flying at 20,000 feet this time over Michigan's Upper Peninsula when U.S. fighter jets took it down. John Loring reports.
This is a turning point where we need to discuss this as a threat and how do we respond to it.
The Pentagon confirmed F-16 fighter jets neutralized a high-altitude device over North American airspace Sunday afternoon.
We were cleared to engage the target in eastern Upper Peninsula of Michigan, overland, and ultimately down the object at this point, about 15 nautical miles east of the Upper Peninsula in Lake Huron.
Pentagon officials say the octagon-shaped object was not a military threat, but rather a flight hazard. This was the third one shot over the U.S. in as many days, and the fourth in just over a week, and lawmakers want answers.
I have real concerns about why the administration is not being more forthcoming with everything that it knows. But part of the problem here is that both of the second and the third objects were shot down in very remote areas.
The Department of Defense says the objects shot down Friday and Saturday didn't resemble the suspected Chinese spy balloon taken down last week. Debris recovery efforts for those downed balloons are ongoing.
The military and the intelligence are focused like a laser on first gathering and accumulating the information, then coming up with a comprehensive analysis of what went on before, what's going on now, and what could go on in the future.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
On Saturday, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau ordered craft over Canadian airspace. He told reporters the following day that recovery teams are, quote, looking to find and analyze the object, end quote.
On Friday, the FBI discovered an additional document with classified markings at former Vice President Mike Pence's Indiana home following the discovery by his lawyers last month. Devin O'Malley, a Pence advisor, stated that the Department of Justice completed a thorough and unrestricted search for 5 hours and removed one document with classified markings and 6 additional pages without such marks that were not discovered in the initial review by the Vice President. Pence joins former President Donald Trump and President Joe Biden as current or top U.S. officials to have their homes searched by the FBI for classified records.
Last Tuesday, President Joe Biden took to the House of Chamber for his most recent State of the Union address. Biden highlighted several legislations that were passed, including funding for the war in Ukraine, the Infrastructure Act, and the Inflation Reduction Act. He also touched on the ongoing issues with China, saying, quote, make no mistake, as we made clear last week, if China threatens our sovereignty, we will act to protect our country, and we did, end quote. While Biden talked about some of his achievements and several important ongoing issues, he was met with some unruly Republicans. In the next 2 years, Biden will work to unify the divided Republicans and Democrats as he continues to work on passing more legislation.
After a 50-car train carrying vinyl chloride derailed and caused a chemical fire just across the Pennsylvania and Ohio border in nearby East Palestine, Ohio, East Palestine Mayor Trent Conaway announced that there will be a town hall meeting Wednesday night at 7 p.m. in the East Palestine High School auditorium for an informational town hall meeting. The town hall will give residents a chance who are concerned and have questions following the train derailment, and they will have an opportunity to make their voices heard this week.
Pittsburgh's Special Victims Unit is asking for the public's help in the search of a missing 13-year-old Maylee Spriggs. Spriggs was last seen leaving her home on February 3rd wearing a purple t-shirt, black bubble coat, shorts, and Crocs. If anyone has any information, they are asked to call 911 or contact the Missing Persons Hotline at 412-323-7141.
It has been almost 1 week since the death of a McKeesport police officer, Sean Sliginski. Loved ones and members of the community started to say their final goodbyes at the John F. Slater funeral home in Brentwood on Sunday. The visitation began on Sunday and will continue today until 8 p.m. Visitors are asked to park at the Old Benson Lincoln dealership on Route 51 in Whitehall, and shuttles will take visitors over to the funeral home. Slaginski's funeral is set for Tuesday and will not be open to the public. If you want to pay your respects on Tuesday, the funeral procession will go through McKeesport, and individuals who wish to pay their respects are asked to line up on the streets at 2 p.m.
On Sunday, a man was shot in Wilkinsburg and later died, Allegheny police say. Around 2:49 p.m., first responders were alerted of a shooting in the 100 block of Burn Mar Court. Upon arrival, first responders found an adult male victim shot. The victim was taken to an area hospital and pronounced dead. Officials have not released the name of the victim, and no suspect has been connected to the shooting yet. Anyone with information on the incident is asked to call the county police tip line.
Pittsburgh police are currently investigating after a shooting early Sunday morning that sent one man to the hospital. Around 1:30 a.m. Sunday morning, police responded to Aliquippa Street and Kirkpatrick Street in the city's West Oakland neighborhood for a report of a male with a gunshot wound. Once police responded to the call, they found a man with a gunshot wounds to the head and chest area. Emergency medical services transported the man to a local hospital in stable condition.
A Laurel Highlands teacher is facing several charges after allegedly recording a conversation with a student without their prior knowledge and sharing that conversation with another student. 33-year-old Ashley Colsar was arrested and arraigned last week and is facing felony charges including criminal use of a communication facility, intercept of communications, and disclosing intercept of communications. According to the Fayette County District Attorney Richard Bauer, Colsar was approached by a student about some grades. She then proceeded to record the conversation and shared it with another student as the two mocked the student in the conversation. All of this comes after Colsar had a potential inappropriate relationship with the 17-year-old she shared the conversation with. Between October of last year and January of this year, Colsar and the student have shared over 6,000 texts. The investigation is ongoing.
Coming up after the break, see how Robert Morris University students are getting prepped for midterms with some fun activities this week.
And see which big fundraising event is making its return to Robert Morris this spring. All that and more when we return here on RMU Live.
Roll over. Chance high five. All right.
When you adopt a shelter pet, you discover all the things that make them unique.
And your mother and... I am totally a hot person. Right, guys? Thanks for being honest.
They're a little bit of a lot of things, but they're all pure love. Adopt pure love at theshelterpetproject.org.
Multiple studies have shown that marijuana can slow both driver reaction and response time, which can be really dangerous. He's here. He's here. Wait. What? I can't drive. Why? My. Oh.
Stem is precise, no margin for error.
Dare to forget that. Dare to have fun with it. Get weird with it. Dare to send those old STEM theories flying past the neighbor's house into outer space. Dare to program something internet-breaking, record-breaking. Dare to blow their minds. Dare to learn the difference between sedimentary and metamorphic rock. Go find those rocks. Dare to keep daring. Dare to STEM. Check out She Can STEM to get started.
Welcome back to RMU Live. Now, there are plenty of events happening around the campus of Robert Morris this week, as there will be a Hangout with the President event in the President's office in the Rockwell School of Business at 5 p.m. today. This exclusive event will take place throughout the semester, and students will have a chance to talk to the President and eat food and also receive an exclusive gift. Also, there will be a Be Your Own Valentine event on Tuesday at 1 p.m., as students will have a chance to write a Valentine for themselves and also receive a free Hershey Kiss. There will also be a Do Not Be Stressed event on February 16th from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Students can enjoy donuts and throw away their stress.
Also, if you're interested in helping the local community and participating, students are also asked this week to join the Active Minds organization and celebrate Random Acts of Kindness Day on Friday. The group will be meeting in Nicholson. Also, students can join Multicultural Student Services and the RMU Pittsburgh Promise program for a movie night that will honor Black History Month. There will be food provided at the event. And are you interested in helping the local community and participating in fundraising efforts? The Robert Morris Rockwell School of Business is bringing back Bobbython. The event is a 6-hour dance marathon that is designed to unify RMU students, faculty, and alumni while supporting the local community around the school. Fundraising efforts will go towards the Coriopolis Community Development Corporation, which works towards the growth and revitalization of Coriopolis. During the 6-hour event, there will be a DJ along with free t-shirts, food, and games. Bobbython is set for April 15th at the RMU Recreation Center and is expected to go from 6 p.m. to 12 a.m.
Now, Nate, it was a loaded weekend for RMU Athletics as the lacrosse season kicked off, while also basketball is making their final stretches for both the men's and women's teams.
And Kevin Plaucha is standing by with more on RMU Sports. Kevin?
Thanks, guys. It was mainly all about the weekend in Colonial sports, starting with the women's basketball team. They dropped Game 1 of their 4-game homestand to Detroit Mercy, 61-55 on Thursday night, giving up 50 points in the paint to the Titans, but rebounded in a big way on Saturday, beating Oakland 74-43, their largest margin of victory in Horizon League Conference play. 4 Colonials finished in double figures, including Rebecca Duomo, who led all scorers with 19 points. They continue their homestand against Green Bay on Friday night. RMU softball was back in full swing as their season kicked off on Friday at the Runnin' Bulldog Classic. The Colonials took Game 1 over Austin Peay 3-2 as Elena Kutsogianni scored in the top of the 7th inning, taking the win away from the Governors. RMU would drop their next 2 games to George Mason in hard-fought battles before ending the Classic with a classic, a 7-6 win over Gardner-Webb. The Colonials led 7-4 heading into the bottom of the 7th inning and were able to hold off the Bulldogs' late charge, only allowing 2 runs and getting the win. The Colonials currently sit at 2-2 and will next play in Charleston, South Carolina in the Low Country Classic starting February 24th. RMU lacrosse is also back in action as the women's team took on Ohio State Friday afternoon, being the first team to play in the Buckeyes' new facility. The Colonials fell 18-6, but it gave the team good experience against a tough Power 5 opponent. They returned to action this Friday against Cincinnati. Men's lacrosse kicked off their season on Saturday with a win as they defeated Bucknell 12-9. The Colonials avenged last year's loss to the Bison at home. Their next game is their home opener as they take on St. Bonaventure on February 21st. Finally, men's basketball fell in crushing fashion on Friday night in a low-scoring affair. The Colonials lost 57-55 to Cleveland State thanks to a tip-in with 2 seconds left by Vikings forward Deontay Johnson. Things weren't looking good for RMU yesterday either when they took on Purdue Fort Wayne. The Colonials were held scoreless for the first 5 minutes and trailed by as many as 18 points before pulling off a massive comeback, beating the Mastodons 71-64. Michael Green III had a season-high 24 points. The Colonials currently sit 8th in the Horizon League standings and return home Thursday night to take on Green Bay. It was certainly a busy weekend for RMU sports, but stick around as we've got more about sports later, including the Super Bowl and Pitt basketball. That's all we've got for now, though. Back to the desk.
Thanks, Kevin, for that update on RMU sports. And Ethan, the men's and women's basketball teams warming up down the stretch of their seasons.
Yeah, Nate, and so is the weather, which we got some unseasonably warm temperatures out there. Alex Wolf has more in our weather studio. Alex?
Okay, thanks, guys. So looking at today, we have a high of 51, a low of 27, a humidity of 48%, and a 0% chance of precipitation. Now, looking into our hourly, right now at 3 p.m., it's 49 degrees. At 6 p.m., it's going to be 47 degrees, and at 9 p.m., it's going to be 42 degrees. Looking into tomorrow, we've got a high of 53, a low of 45, 51% humidity, and a 10% chance of precipitation. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Alex, for that update on the weather. Looking to stay up to date with everything that is happening in the area, be sure to check out RMU Century Media. The student reporters provide news from the campus of Robert Morris and the surrounding area, along with the latest in arts and entertainment. Coming up after the break, Mandy Gaither takes a look at the second leading cause of death and what can be done to help you in the battle with the disease on today's Health Minute.
And see how COVID-19 is affecting the nation and right here on the home front. Stay tuned right here on RMU Live.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made her college years happen. Opening that education savings account when she was little. Spearheading a campus tour. And another, and another, and another, and another. Bam! Deciphering financial aid. She was like, what? And now she's like, you aced planning for college. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
Jason, let's go see your room.
That's not right. How is it? Is it good?
Things could be stranger, but I don't know how. I'm going through changes now. Could spend a lifetime trying to figure it out. I'm going through changes, through all of the strangeness. I'm going through changes now.
Welcome back to RMU Live. It's the second leading cause of death in the U.S., just behind heart disease. Every year, nearly 2 million new cases of cancer are diagnosed.
Catching the disease early is key to survival, and getting genetic testing done can help you know your risks. In today's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither gets answers to some of the most common questions about this type of testing.
Environment, lifestyle, and your family history. Some of the factors that can play into a cancer diagnosis, and knowing your risk of getting the disease could save your life.
We're able to recommend earlier or more frequent types of screenings to be able to catch these cancers earlier or maybe even prevent them.
Mayo Clinic genetic counselor Brianna Mitchell says this testing can determine risk for many types of cancers. While having a potential harmful gene doesn't guarantee you'll get the disease, she says testing can typically assign a risk range. The first step is to get an appointment with a genetic counselor.
That's where we go through your family history. We ask those details about those cancers, how old someone was when they had it, what types of cancers, and do our kind of evaluation and assessment to see if you meet criteria.
The counselor will not only look at personal and family cancer history, but ancestry or the presence of abnormal cells. If you qualify, the test is done with either a blood test drawn locally or through a saliva kit at home. Even if you don't meet criteria, you can still get tested.
Most patients, regardless of whether their insurance covers their testing or not, are typically able to pay less than $500 for this kind of testing.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Mitchell says, on average, results from genetic testing come back about 2 to 3 weeks after the sample is submitted.
Feeling blue? It may help to move somewhere with cleaner air. It's not always that easy, but scientists believe they have found a link between air pollution and depression. The massive study of almost 9 million people looked at Medicare recipients who are at least 65 years old. It found that those who lived in areas with high levels of air pollution were more likely to experience depression. Even low levels of pollution were associated with higher risk of late onset depression. The association was higher among poorer people, which could be because they are also exposed to other stressors. Most of the participants were white, so it's unclear if the results would be similar among a diverse populations. The study was published in JAMA Open Network.
The Consumer Product Safety Commission is accusing a maker of baby strollers of making inaccurate statements about the safety of its products. On Thursday, CPSC warned consumers about the dangers of sit-and-stand, double, and ultra strollers made by Baby Trend. The notice came after the asphyxiation death of a 14-month-old whose neck became trapped between the canopy and armrest of the double stroller. In a statement Friday, Baby Trend said its strollers were, quote, completely safe when used as intended. The CPSC pushed back, saying model numbers SS76 and SS66 can cause life-threatening injuries. More than 1 million strollers have been sold at stores like Walmart, Target, Kohl's, and Bye Bye Baby. Consumers go to saferproducts.gov or call Baby Trend toll-free at 800-328-7363 Monday through Friday to learn more.
This past week, there were 282,827 new COVID-19 cases in the United States. There were also 3,171 new deaths, along with 3,613 new hospitalizations throughout the country this week.
Looking at the Pennsylvania numbers, there are currently an average of 1,593 new cases. In the state, there are 18 deaths average per day by COVID-19.
As of 7 a.m. this morning, there are currently 1 student and 1 employee in COVID-19 isolation at Robert Morris University. There have also been a total of 277 cases reported at Robert Morris since August 1st, 2022.
Coming up after the break, was this year's Super Bowl one of the best of all time? What about Rihanna's halftime show? Kevin Plouch is back in studio, and he will have a look into that and more.
And it has been an unseasonably warm over this past week in the Pittsburgh area. See if those temperatures continue in the Pittsburgh area as we head back to the weather studio right after these messages.
Over. Chance high five. All right.
When you adopt a shelter pet, you discover all the things that make them unique. And your mother and... I am totally a hot person. Right, guys? Thanks for being honest. They're a little bit of a lot of things, but they're all pure love. Adopt pure love at theshelterpetproject.org.
Multiple studies have shown that marijuana can slow both driver reaction and response time, which can be really dangerous. He's here. He's here. Wait. What? I can't drive. Why? My. Oh.
Stem is precise, no margin for error.
Dare to forget that. Dare to have fun with it. Get weird with it. Dare to send those old STEM theories flying past the neighbor's house into outer space. Dare to program something internet-breaking, record-breaking. Dare to blow their minds. Dare to learn the difference between sedimentary and metamorphic rock. Go find those rocks. Dare to keep daring. Dare to STEM. Check out She Can STEM to get...
Last night's Super Bowl 57 garnered a lot of attention from the American population.
Yeah, Nate, and Kevin Ploucha is back in our sports studio to take us back to see how the action unfolded. Kevin?
Thanks again, guys. Well, we have to start, like you said, with last night's major sporting event, Super Bowl 57. The Kansas City Chiefs defeated the Philadelphia Eagles 38-35 in one of the best Super Bowls to date. Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts was awesome in defeat, completing 27 of 38 passes for 304 yards and a touchdown. Despite Patrick Mahomes re-aggravating his ankle injury late in the second quarter, the eventual Super Bowl MVP would miss no time in the game and go on to complete 21 of his 27 passes, passing for 182 yards and throwing 3 touchdowns. Lots of controversy surrounded the end of the game, however, as a holding penalty called on Eagles cornerback James Bradbury allowed Kansas City to run the clock down and kick the game-winning field goal. Now, moving on from football, almost. Rihanna was the halftime show performer this year and sang all of her fan favorites, including We Found Love, Run This Town, Umbrella, and Diamonds. The 34-year-old also revealed during the show that she was pregnant with her second child. This was later confirmed by her show representative. Moving on to hockey, the Penguins went 2-1 this week as their push to the playoffs continued. They currently sit 1 point ahead of the New York Islanders for the last wildcard spot. Finally, some basketball. The Pitt Panthers went 2-0 last week after a dominant 34-point home win over Louisville on Tuesday and a road win over Florida State on Saturday. Forward Blake Hinson and guard Jamarius Burton continue to have fantastic seasons in blue and gold, both averaging nearly 16 points per game. The Panthers are now 18-7 overall, including 7-2 on the road, and are currently tied for first place in the ACC with Virginia with an 11-3 conference record. But somehow, they still aren't ranked. The Panthers look to continue their best season in years as they take on the Boston College Eagles tomorrow night, Valentine's Day, at 9 o'clock p.m. That's all we've got for sports in what was a crazy and very busy week. Now that the Super Bowl is behind us, the push to March Madness and baseball spring training starts. Let's send it back to Ethan and Nate at the desk.
Thank you, Kevin. And it was sunny this morning as I walked up here to the studio, Nate, and I'm hoping these warm weathers and warm temperatures and the sunny weather continues.
And Alex Wolf is back in our weather studio for a look at the 5-day forecast. Alex?
All right, thanks, guys. So looking later this week, we are seeing some unseasonably high temperatures. On Wednesday, we're looking at a high of 66, a low of 47, with partly cloudy skies. Thursday, we're looking at some rain with a high of 57. Friday, we're looking at cloudy skies with a lower temperature of a high of 34. On Saturday, we're seeing the temperatures pick up again with partly cloudy skies at 42 degrees with your high. And on Saturday, it is still going to be partly cloudy with a high of 51. Back to you guys at the desk. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. An odd police chase in Massachusetts turned a lot of heads. Officers were in hot pursuit of a runaway emu named Mallory.
And as David Bynick reports, she was easy to catch on camera, but not so easy to catch in another way.
Surveillance video shows Mallory the emu strolling through this intersection in Brockton. Another video posted on Facebook shows her running alongside a car.
Something probably come down through here and scared her.
Lee Flaherty thinks a wild animal likely caused Mallory to jump over her 6-foot fence at his home in East Bridgewater. She was still hanging around the yard as he and his wife pulled in the driveway. He was trying to coax her back inside when a truck came along and spooked her.
They can do about 35, so she was flying. She ran all the way up to the intersection and then cut into a field. I got up to her at the field, and I was walking with her there, and she wouldn't come to. She was terrified.
Soon, social media and police lines were lighting up as Mallory zigzagged past Massasoit Community College, Brockton Hospital, and eventually towards the center of the city.
There's plenty of great people that slowed down and tried to help, but then there was another car that got frustrated and honked his horn.
After about 3 hours, Flaherty and police corralled Mallory in this shopping center parking lot.
Took this and put it over her head while we were laying her down. And then they took this and wrapped it loose so it stayed over her face.
After a cramped ride in the back of Flaherty's SUV, Mallory is now back in her pen with companion Mickey. Flaherty says Mallory is shaken and tired, has an injury to her leg, but it looks as if she'll be okay.
Mallory has learned a lesson?
No.
No.
No, I
You
mean,
think another
do any of
rapper-
us?
Flattery says he is going to raise the fence around Mallory in Mickey's pen by about 2 feet. Now, if you want to catch up on another RMU-TV show, come check out our full list of shows here at RMU-TV. As on Wednesdays, you can check out Sports Talk in the Berg at 5:30 p.m. Thursdays, switching bi-weekly, the Bobby Mo Game Show will alternate with RMU Backstage at 5 p.m. You can also check out Colonial Sports Center that night at 9:30 p.m., catching all of the action around RMU athletics and Colonial sports. And also on Friday, check out RMU Focus at noon to catch on all of the events happening around campus and the surrounding Pittsburgh area.
And if you want some additional RMU athletics coverage, be sure to check out colonialsportsnetwork.com. CSN provides a platform for student-produced sports content, including previews, recaps, podcasts, and feature stories, and much, much more. Be sure to check out all the content by following on Twitter at RMU_CSN and Instagram at Colonial Sports Network.
Yeah, Nate. And yeah, like you said, the Super Bowl and sports is happening, so we've gotten a change in the change of the sporting season here. And baseball's coming up, and springtime's just around the corner.
Yeah, you got hockey postseason, NBA postseason, March Madness, as Kevin said, and the weather's getting a lot better, so much better times ahead. That does it for all of us here down in the studio. For Ethan Morrison, I'm Nathan Breisinger. Thanks for tuning in to RMU Live.